Be me. 24 years old, software engineering dropout. Haven't left my apartment in exactly 731 days. My room is a cathedral of self-imposed exile. Blackout curtains fused to the windows by inertia. 3 monitors running 24/7, casting the only light I know. Empty energy drink cans stacked in a pyramid by the wall that I have started calling the monument, ironically and then unironically. Mom stopped calling after month 4. Dad sends $100 a month to my PayPal with no message attached, just a notification. And I use it alongside my freelance income, fixing broken code for startups that don't know what they're doing. I have a system. Groceries get delivered, meds get delivered, games get downloaded, human contact gets avoided. The only real variable in my perfectly engineered hermit existence is pizza. I order from Mario's Pizzeria every Friday night without fail. It is my one weekly ritual, my anchor, the thing that tells me 7 more days have passed and I have survived them. The delivery instructions say, please leave at door, do not knock, thank you, with emphatic capitalization because I feel like it communicates seriousness. This system has worked for 103 consecutive Fridays without incident. And then week 104, Mario sends someone new. It's a regular Friday. I'm deep in a Stellaris campaign where I've successfully exterminated all organic life in the galaxy. Priorities. Hear a knock at the door. The audacity. The absolute audacity. Sit frozen for 11 seconds, hoping she'll just leave the bag and go. Hello, I have your order. I just wanted to make sure it arrived okay because the bag felt kind of light, and I think Tony might have forgotten your garlic bread again. Girl's voice warm, too much energy for 9 p.m. on a Friday. Just leave it, I call out, voice cracking because I genuinely haven't spoken aloud in 4 days. Brief pause. Okay, but seriously, check for the garlic bread. Because Tony forgets it constantly and Marco makes him personally drive it back. As punishment, it's a whole system. She sounds like she's smiling. I don't open the door. I wait until her footsteps retreat, then crack the door, grab the bag, close and lock and deadbolt. Garlic bread is missing. Of course it is. Next Friday, I'm actually nervous about pizza delivery, which is a new personal low even for me. Reinstall the note on the delivery instructions. 9:17 p.m., knock at the door. Her again. Hi again. Garlic bread situation guy, right? I literally watched Tony wrap it myself this time. I stood there with my arms crossed until he acknowledged me. Something in the way she says it, not irritated, just cheerfully determined, catches me off guard. Thanks, I manage. No problem, have a good night. Footsteps gone. I stand at the door, holding my pizza bag for 2 full minutes before moving. The garlic bread is in there, it's warm. I eat the whole thing in the dark kitchen and feel something I identify after a while as gratitude. Which is embarrassing, but there it is. 3rd Friday. I'm prepared, I'll intercept the bag through a slightly open door before she can say anything. Door opens before I even get there because I'm a disaster. I see her for the first time. She's maybe 22. She's wearing the red Mario's polo that looks like it was designed to fit a 45-year-old man named Sal. Dark hair and a practical ponytail, and she has this expression of genuine delight at the door opening, like I've done something wonderful just by existing in it. Oh, hey, you actually answered. I'm standing in the doorway in a 3-day-old hoodie, blinking in the hallway light like a mole person encountering sunlight. I live here, I say, which is possibly the stupidest sentence I've ever constructed. She laughs, not mockingly, just genuinely, handing me the bag. I'm Carla. I've been doing your route for a few weeks. I'm Anon. Cool name. It's not my real name. Even cooler. She gives a small wave and walks back down the hallway, and I stand there until she turns the corner before closing the door. My heart is doing something alarming. I eat my pizza and start a Reddit thread asking if heart palpitations from brief social interaction are normal and get roasted for 47 comments. 4th Friday, I've been preparing. Took a shower, put on a clean shirt, looked up 3 conversation topics that don't require me to explain the 2-year situation. Carla arrives, knocks twice, cheerful, knocks somehow. And I open the door with what I hope is casual ease and is probably wild-eyed desperation. Anon. Full pizza, garlic bread, dipping sauce, and extra napkins because Marco said you always get a lot of toppings, and I thought, my name is actually David. She pauses, blinks. Okay, David, hi. Hi, thank you for the napkins. You're very welcome, David. She's smiling like this entire exchange is the highlight of her shift. "How's your night going?" I ask, executing topic 1 from my prepared list. "Honestly, pretty good. Slow shift, Marco, let me pick the music. I've been on a Hans Zimmer thing." "Which soundtrack?" "Interstellar, the organ one." My brain short-circuits slightly because that's my 3 a.m. coding music. "Cornfield Chase," I say. Her entire face changes. "Yes. Nobody ever knows that one. Everyone only knows the docking scene. The organ piece is better." "The organ piece is so much better." We're standing in my doorway at 9 p.m. talking about a movie soundtrack, and it is the most alive I've felt in 2 years. She catches herself, checks her phone. "I have 3 more deliveries, but same time next week, David?" "Yeah, same time next week." I close the door and put on the Interstellar soundtrack and don't sleep until 4 a.m. Weeks pass. Our Friday doorway conversations become a thing. She always brings extra napkins even though I never need them. I learned that her full name is Carla Benedetti. She's 23. She takes night classes for graphic design. She works at Mario's to pay for them, and she has extremely passionate opinions about fonts that she will share with you immediately and without warning. Helvetica is the Comic Sans of professional design, David. I cannot stress this enough. I thought Comic Sans was the Comic Sans of professional design. Comic Sans knows what it is. Helvetica thinks it's sophisticated. That's so much worse. I learned she has a little brother named Gio, 13, currently in an all-black phase. I learned she makes incredible arancini but always messes up risotto, that her cat is named Rigatoni, that she wanted to be an architect when she was 8, and that she thinks the moon is underappreciated as a concept. She learns things about me too, that I've read the Foundation series 4 times, that I'm terrified of geese specifically because of an incident at age 7, that I have enough empty energy drink cans to build a small vehicle. "You should make art with them," she says one Friday. "I'm not making can art." "Hear me out. You could call it the stimulant period." I laugh. Out loud. Actually laugh for the first time in so long the sound surprises me. Carla looks absolutely delighted. Was that a laugh? Did David just laugh? Don't make it weird. I'm making it a little weird. She's grinning, and I'm still recovering from laughing, and we're standing in a doorway at 9:30 p.m., and something in the air between us is different. She must feel it too because she looks at me 1 second longer than usual before saying goodnight. Somewhere around week 9, I start cleaning my apartment on Thursdays. I tell myself it's general hygiene. I also start keeping actual food in the apartment. I look up easy recipes and make pasta twice, badly, and chicken soup once, acceptably. I download Duolingo and start learning Italian because Carla mentions once that her grandmother only speaks it and she's been meaning to practice. "Buonasera," I say when she arrives the next Friday. She stops dead. Are you learning Italian?" "I know 7 words." "David!" She grabs both my hands through the doorway to shake them, which is the first time anyone has touched me in God knows how long, and it absolutely destroys my nervous system. "Pizza è buona," I recite carefully. "Your pronunciation is terrible, and this is the most wonderful thing that has happened to me this month." She's still holding my hands when she says it. I'm acutely aware of this. She seems to realize it at the same moment and lets go, and there's a half second where neither of us says anything, and then she laughs and says goodnight, and the hallway swallows her. I close the door and stand with my back against it for a while. Week 11, she arrives looking tired. Not shift tired, something heavier. "You okay?" I ask immediately. "Fine." That's a fine that means not fine. She leans against the wall next to my door, which she's never done before. "My professor failed me on my midterm project, said it was technically competent but emotionally uninspired. Can I see it?" She shows me poster designs on her phone, clean, controlled, safe. I look at them for a long moment. "He's right that it's safe," I say carefully, "but he's wrong that it's uninspired. You're making deliberate restraint choices, which is harder than going wild. The problem is the restraint doesn't mean anything yet." "What do you mean?" "This one," I point to the most minimal design, "could be clinical. But what if the white space is silence? What if the whole poster is about what a festival leaves out, the rejected films, the almost greats? The line becomes a rope, the silence becomes grief. Very long silence. "David," she says. "Yeah?" "How are you not doing something with this?" "I'm doing something with a pizza right now." "I'm serious." She's looking at me with an expression that's doing something to me. Can I come back after my shift and show you the revised version? She asks. Sure, you want to come in? Only if you want. You can absolutely say no. 11 seconds of silence. Give me 40 minutes to move the can pyramid. Her smile is blinding. She comes back at 11:30 p.m. I have cleaned with the frantic energy of a man, given 40 minutes to disguise 2 years of hermit living. The can pyramid is in the closet, but there are coasters on the coffee table. I don't know when I acquired coasters. Carla steps inside like it's natural, looks around with open curiosity, no judgment. Oh, you have good taste, she says, noticing the bookshelf. It's mostly sci-fi and programming books. That is good taste. She runs a finger along the spines. We sit on opposite ends of my couch and she shows me the revised design on her tablet, and it's completely different. The same elements rearranged into something that aches. Carla, I say, was it better? You found the grief in it. She exhales like she's been holding it. We talk about design for an hour, then films. Then the conversation drifts to families, and hers is loud and complicated, and full of Sunday dinners and shouting arguments about soccer. And she asks about mine carefully. I tell her the truth. All of it. The 2 years, the voicemails, the $100 with no message, the 103 Fridays. She listens without interrupting, which almost nobody does. When did it start? She asks. Bad breakup and a job loss in the same week. Something kind of broke and I just stopped going out, and then stopping became easier than starting again. Are you okay now? Genuinely? I'm better than I was. Because of the pasta recipes? Because of the pasta recipes, I confirm. She smiles. And maybe slightly because of the Friday conversations? Don't push it. I'm definitely pushing it. She's sitting close enough that I can see the specific way she smiles when she's being deliberately annoying about something, which is a new kind of information that my brain does not know what to do with. It's 2 a.m. when she leaves, taking my copy of Foundation with her. Good night, David. Good night, Carla. She's halfway down the hallway when she turns back. Thank you. For earlier, the grief thing. You found it yourself. You showed me where to look. She turns and goes, and I close the door and lean against it and stare at the ceiling. The next week, she texts me a photo of herself on page 47 with a thumbs up. I didn't give her my number. She got it from my delivery account. I tell her this is a privacy violation. She sends 17 consecutive photos of Rigatoni the cat. I save all of them. She texts at odd hours now, 2 a.m. when she's finishing an assignment, 11 a.m. when she sees something funny on her commute. I text back every time. I've not done that with another person in 2 years. I don't examine this too closely. Except I do, at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, examining it extensively. Week 13, Carla tells me her professor asked her to defend her revised project at a live critique because he wants to use it as a teaching example. That's incredible. It's terrifying. Those are often the same thing. He said, whoever helped me find the emotional register deserves credit. You found it yourself. You said the right words, David. She's looking at me in that direct way she has, and it's been happening more. For these moments where she holds eye contact a beat longer than necessary, and I don't know what to do with it except feel it everywhere. Words are what I have, I say. I'm not great at the other stuff. You've gotten better at the other stuff, she says quietly. The hallway's very still. I think about saying something. I don't. She says goodnight and goes, and I close the door and stand there like an idiot. Week 15, she brings her brother Gio without warning. 13 years old, all black, expression of supreme adolescent disdain. He wanted to meet the mysterious pizza door guy. I didn't want to, Gio says flatly. He absolutely begged. Carla confirms. Gio evaluates me with the look of a teenager waiting to be disappointed. My sister says you know every movie soundtrack. Not all of them. Do you know Sleep Token? Band, not soundtrack? Yes. His expression shifts approximately 2 millimeters, which in teenager is ecstatic. We spend 2 hours talking about music, and Gio pulls every book off my shelf and interrogates me about each one with the rapid-fire energy of a kid who is actually desperately curious underneath the all-black armor. Carla sits on my couch watching us with an expression I catch once or twice, but can't hold long enough to read. Before they leave, Gio solemnly requests my copy of Ready Player One. I give it to him. He nods once here like we've sealed a pact. In the hallway, Carla hangs back a second while Gio goes ahead. He likes you, she says quietly. He didn't say that. Geo not saying something bad is exactly Geo liking you. She's close in the hallway and her voice is low and the whole thing is doing something to my ability to think correctly. I like him too, I say. She looks at me for a moment, something moving behind her eyes. Good night, David. Her voice is different when she says my name sometimes. I've noticed this. Week 17, a Thursday, Carla texts me a photo of a mural she passed on her commute. A massive painted wave on a building wall, white and deep blue and enormous. Made me think of you for some reason. I stare at the photo. Because it's overwhelming and blue, I text back. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Because it's beautiful and doesn't know it. I put my phone face down on the desk, then pick it up and read it 4 more times. Then open my window, not the curtains, the actual window, and lean out into the October air for the first time in 731 days. I stay there for 23 minutes, new record. I don't text back for an hour because I don't know what to say. I finally send, "That's a lot." She replies, "Yeah, sorry, don't overthink it." I have already completely overthought it. Week 19, Carla arrives bouncing. My professor wants to feature my film festival project as the lead piece at the end of semester showcase. And he asked me to design the showcase promotional materials themselves. Carla, I know. I grab both her hands through the doorway and we do a brief, mortifying, happy bounce together, and she's laughing and I'm laughing, and a neighbor gives us a bewildered look passing by in the hallway. "This is because of you," she says. This is because you're talented." "David?" "Carla." She squeezes my hands and doesn't let go immediately. We're standing in the doorway holding hands, both of us aware of it, neither of us doing anything about it. Her thumb moves slightly, the smallest possible movement, against the back of my hand. "I should finish my route," she says, not moving. "Yeah," I say, not moving. Then she releases my hands and steps back, and the professional cheerfulness comes back, like a costume she's putting on. "Same time next week, David. Same time next week." I close the door and stand in the dark for a while with my hands at my sides. I look at my hands like they've done something without my permission. They haven't, but they wanted to. I go to the kitchen and drink a glass of water and look out the slightly open curtain at the street below. A couple walks past holding hands and I watch them until they go around the corner. I go back to my desk and open my Stellaris campaign and stare at it for 20 minutes without clicking anything. Then I open my text thread with Carla and type, "Hey," and delete it 7 times and close the app and go to sleep. Week 20, she asks if I want to come to the showcase. It's in 3 weeks. You don't have to answer now. I haven't been outside in 2 years, Carla. I know. That's not a small thing. I know that too. That's why I'm asking you. I think about the window, the 23 minutes, the wave mural text, her thumb on the back of my hand. Can we walk to the end of the street first, practice run? Her whole face does something wonderful. Yes, whatever pace you need. Next Thursday? Next Thursday. The Thursday walk. I'm standing at my door in my best hoodie, hands shaking. Carla's in the hallway with 2 coffees, wearing a yellow jacket that seems to generate its own warmth, and she looks at me and says, "Hi. Hi, I might need to go back inside immediately." That's fine. I'll tell you about whether cannelloni counts as pasta while you stand in the doorway. Does it? Obviously it does. But my Uncle Giorgio brought a diagram to Sunday dinner. She talks about the cannelloni debate for 11 minutes while I stand in the doorway of my building, feeling the outside air on my face for the first time in 731 days. It smells like leaves and exhaust, and someone's cooking from an open window. My hands stop shaking around the part where Uncle Giorgio's diagram had footnotes. "Okay," I say. "Okay, let's walk." We walk to the end of the street, 200 meters. I'm 16 minutes because I stopped twice, and she stops with me each time. No sighing, no phone checking, just stops. There's a bench at the corner and we sit on it, and I look at the intersection and the people and the pigeons aggressively asserting territorial dominance over the sidewalk. The whole world that's been happening without me for 2 years. "How are you doing?" she asks. "Overwhelmed, but okay, overwhelmed." Those are different, completely different. A pigeon walks close to my foot. I don't move away. We sit for 40 minutes and she points out a dog that looks exactly like a footstool and a man in a genuinely baffling hat and a kid on a skateboard doing tricks badly but with enormous commitment. She's warm next to me on the bench, her shoulder occasionally touching mine when she leans to point at something. I don't move away from that either. Thank you for coming outside, she says. Thank you for making it not terrible. You did that. She turns her head to look at me when she says it, and we're close, bench close, and the October light is doing something to her face, and she's looking at me like she's waiting for something. I don't know how to be the person who acts on something like this. I look back at the intersection. She looks away too. But neither of us says anything for a long moment, just sits there in this specific silence of two people not saying the obvious thing. A pigeon struts past with the confidence of someone who owns the bench. Bold pigeon, she says. Yeah. Like you. I'm nothing like that pigeon. You came outside today, David? I think about that. Fair point. She smiles and bumps her shoulder against mine and leaves it there this time, warm and steady, and we sit like that for a while. When we finally get up to walk back, she doesn't move away, and neither do I. We walk back closer than we arrived. She squeezes my arm at my door and says goodnight, and I go upstairs and stand in the dark for a long time thinking about everything I didn't say on that bench. The showcase. I get my hair cut alone, 2 blocks away, which is terrifying and fine. I'm wearing actual clothes, not hoodie clothes. Carla meets me at the door of the gallery space, a converted industrial building with good bones and string lights, and she's wearing a dark green dress and her hair is down, and she looks at me and says, "You look really good, David." "Thank you. You look..." I stop. "What?" she says. "You look really good, Carla," which is still insufficient, but it's what I've got. She smiles like she knows exactly what I was actually thinking and doesn't push it. Her project is on the main wall, standing in front of it, with the grief visible in the white space and the silence doing exactly what we talked about. I understand completely why her professor featured it. It's the best thing in the room. "Carla." "Yeah?" This is genuinely one of the most affecting pieces of visual communication I've ever seen. She links her arm through mine, stands close. Close enough that I can smell her jacket and feel the warmth of her arm through mine, and feel the specific weight of 2 months of almost moments pressing on the evening. Her professor comes over. She evaluates us together with the trained observational instinct of a man who teaches visual communication for a living. And something in his expression tells me he sees exactly what's happening and finds it extremely amusing. He tells me Carla talks about me. "I don't say things like that," Carla says immediately and too loudly. "She mentioned you," he says smoothly, in the context of the revision. "She mentioned you," I repeat quietly, leaning slightly toward her. "Stop it," she says, not moving away. Her professor laughs and excuses himself, and we stand in front of her grief and silence posters with our arms still linked. "Do you talk about me?" I ask. "Occasionally." "What do you say?" "That you're smart and terrible at accepting compliments." "That's accurate." "I know." She's still holding my arm. Shortly after the showcase, we get pasta at a place nearby because pasta is the structural material of our entire relationship. Small table, close together. She orders in rapid Italian. The waiter lights up. They have a full conversation. "Your Italian is not terrible anymore," she tells me. "It's terrible in a more sophisticated way." Progress. We eat and talk, and the restaurant empties around us, and someone is stacking chairs, and we've been there 3 hours, and neither of us has mentioned leaving. At some point, the conversation lapses into a comfortable silence, and we're just sitting there, close at this small table, and she has her chin resting on her hand looking at me. "What?" I say. "Nothing, just thinking." "About what?" She smiles slowly. About how different you are from the guy who wouldn't open the door." "I'm the same person." "I know, that's the interesting part." The waiter comes to ask if we need anything, and we both look at him and look at each other, and there's a beat where we're deciding without words whether to stay or go. "Just the bill," Carla says. I pay before she can argue, which she does anyway. "David, you drove all the way here from Mario's every Friday for 4 months. That was my job. The first 8 weeks, maybe?" She goes quiet and looks at me with that expression again. "Yeah," she says. "Okay." Walking back, it's cold and clear, and she's slightly closer than walking distance requires, and our hands keep almost touching as we move. At my building door, I stop. "Carla." "Yeah?" 11 seconds. I want to say something, and I'm going to say it badly because my social calibration is genuinely terrible from 2 years of being a hermit. She's looking at me directly, very still. "You can say it badly," she says. "The first Friday you knocked, I was annoyed, and then you came back, and you kept coming back. And I started cleaning on Thursdays and learning Italian and going to the window and eventually to the street and tonight to an actual gallery with actual people in it. And I know you'll say I did it myself, but doing it yourself and having a reason to do it are different things. And you were the reason. And I don't know what to do with that information because I haven't been a person who does anything with information like this for a very long time, but I wanted to say it. Silence. David, she says. I told you I'd say it badly. You said it perfectly. I really didn't. David? Yeah? She steps forward, closes the distance that's been there between us since the bench, since the doorway handhold, since the wave mural text, since the very first Friday she knocked when she wasn't supposed to. She puts her hand against my jaw carefully, like she's giving me time to say no. I don't say no. She kisses me. It is not a dramatic movie kiss. It is a quiet, careful 11 p.m. outside a building kiss that lasts exactly long enough to rewrite every decision I've made in the last 2 years. When she pulls back, she's looking at me with the undecodable expression finally decoded. I kept requesting your route, she says. What? Every week at Mario's. Marco kept trying to give me the downtown route because it tips better. I always asked for yours. Since when? Since the guy with please in all caps on his delivery instructions. Nobody does that. It was polite and desperate at the same time, and I thought, that person is really trying. I look at her for a long moment. Buonasera, I say. She laughs. Your pronunciation is still terrible. I'm working on it. I know. That's your whole thing. She kisses me again, quicker this time, and steps back and says, good night, and walks to her car, and I stand outside my building in the October night for 15 minutes just standing in the world. I go upstairs. I text my mom. She calls back in 4 minutes. We talk for an hour and a half. I open the blackout curtains before I go to sleep. Epilogue, 4 months later. I go outside now. Not always easily, not without the 2-minute doorway pause sometimes, but I go. I attend team meetings at a startup every Thursday, which started as my personal nightmare and is now just a Thursday. Mom visited in February and stood in my cleaned apartment pretending very badly not to cry. Gio and I have a loose book club operating entirely through memes. The pigeon at the corner bench knows me now, or at least doesn't flee, which is basically friendship. Carla and I had our first official date in January at a museum, her idea. Quiet and big and manageable, she knew exactly what she was doing. We are currently arguing about what counts as our anniversary. She says it's the first Friday. I say it's the bench. She says both are valid. She is correct. Marco at Mario's waved at me through the window the first time I walked past. You going in? Carla asked. Maybe next week. Okay, but I'm ordering Friday. Obviously, with the note. Please in all caps. It would be wrong any other way. She takes my hand as we walk past and I let her, which is a thing I can do now, just let good things happen without waiting for the catch. This is harder than it sounds and easier than it used to be. On the bench at the corner of the street, I tell her about the goose incident at age 7, and she laughs so hard she leans into me and doesn't move away afterward. I don't move away either. We sit there a while in the pale winter sun, her head against my shoulder, pigeons being aggressively territorial nearby. It's cold and loud and real, and I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm working on it. That's my whole thing. That is my face when I realize the thing that saved me from 2 years of self-imposed isolation was a missing order of garlic bread. That feeling when the smallest, most accidental kindness turns out to be the exact thing that cracks the door open. And then the person behind it just keeps knocking anyway.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
again. Neon curtains closed against the world outside. She kept coming back and pulling me into the light. I cleaned the room on Thursday, learned Italian just to try. She said, beautiful, and doesn't know it. That was me. She said, beautiful. She meant it, I could see. Week 9, hands in mine, and I called it nothing. Week 17, a wave on a wall said everything. 200 meters felt like crossing galaxies. She stopped when I stopped, waited, breathed with me, and I came back. I came back through the door, down the hall, to the end of the street. I came back. Neon curtains closed against the world outside. She kept coming back and pulling me into the light. I cleaned the room on Thursday, learned Italian just to try. She said, beautiful, and doesn't know it. That was me. She said, beautiful. She meant it, I could see. On a bench in October, cold, her shoulder